I would like to procure the bag.
I wanna be a rich bitch. Penthouse doorman, money, 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 rich bitch. Hey, give me that bag. Rich bitch.
Yes, you're so rich.
And that's when I told him, shut the fuck up. Yeah, that sounds good. How about you?
And that's when I told him, shut the fuck up.
Love her.
But it's true. I mean, some of these people do need to shut the fuck up.
Scabs.
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 Well, okay, so...
Scabs on my knees and scabs on my ankles, scabs on my face and scabs on my... Yeah, there's a lot of scabs today.
Give me one margarita, I'm a scab on...
I'm a scab on you. It looks like I fell off a skateboard because I'm scabby today.
Yeah, truly.
Actually, I'm not scabby at all.
No, so like what I was gonna say earlier is like I love this movement of the masses that are kind of really fed up, sick and tired of celebrity bullshit.
Yes.
I think Oprah kicked it off with her give me $10 million to give to the people of Hawaii, even though she could absolutely afford that herself.
Yep.
I think it is also Ashton Kutcher and by proxy Mila Kunis with that whole situation with Danny Masterson.
By proxy, she was in that video where she's like, "We have always," her eyes were like this, "We have always stood by
but
the blah, blah, blah."
I heard a really, really good breakdown of that film by someone who does like PR and casting.
Okay.
And I want to talk about that because I think it's
my
really interesting.
God.
But then also now we have Bill Maher and Drew Barrymore who are just crossing picket lines left and right as if
Literally.
they don't matter to them. And everyone is sick and tired of these rich people's bullshit.
It's spin.
And it's not rich bitch behavior.
No.
It's really kind of lack behavior, which sucks because like these are people Bill Maher less so in the last couple years. I
Sure.
feel like he's gotten a little out.
I used to love him.
Same,
Like
but
beyond.
I feel like
When you have
he's
Seth MacFarlane on, I'd be like, I love both of you.
Truly,
You know,
what a
we're both
combo.
the perfect.
but like I feel like he's gone off the deep end a little bit.
Truly.
In my opinion. But like
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore is someone I've always loved and rooted for, and now I'm just like, you are just like the rest of them.
Yeah.
And also like duh, of course she is. She is like acting royalty dynasty.
She truly is.
She's the epitome of Nepo baby. So like why would we think that she's like the celebrity of the people?
Right.
You know, like she can sit on the floor cross-legged all she wants and be like, kumbaya.
Tell me about your feelings.
Tell me-
Anyway, I'm going to the Hamptons and I sold
I
5
sold
people
7.
yesterday. She's like a Vanderbilt
She's just
now.
human trafficking out in public.
Not if you're
Not
right.
that that's funny. Not that that's funny. Right, but
Not
like
funny. Sorry.
No, but
we're really upset.
I'm
We're
I'm
trying to
so
laugh through our
I'm
pain.
lit up by this because it's just so
Angry.
disappointing. And it is angering, but it's also hurtful in a different kind of
Yes.
way because she is someone that I've always loved and whose career has been like omnipresent in our lives. You know, like one of the
Truly.
first movies I remember seeing was E.T.
Truly.
And there's her cute little baby face, you know, the pre-snorting coke days where
Yeah,
she's like talking to aliens, you know, and like, well, we all know that she
Steven
had
Spielberg is her godfather.
right, like we all know that she's had
whatever.
like a troubled youth
Sure.
and whatever.
I feel
but
bad
like
for that, but you a grown ass bitch now.
you are a grown ass bitch now, and
not
it's
a rich bitch.
It's
You're rich,
very
but you ain't acting like one.
right. You ain't a bitch in that sense.
Yeah, no.
It's very telling, and again, like this celebrity culture of just being tired of their bullshit, and like obviously. As we get smarter with social media and are able to talk to each other more about like your team and like your marketing and PR people and like and how all of that is like all fabricated and planned
Sure.
and put together. Like it's something I'm talking about now with what I'm putting
Yeah.
together. And it's just so funny. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But but like I don't think there's anything wrong with that when it comes to your career.
Right.
When it comes to other
Professional.
people's livelihoods, then I think there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because what I've never understood from like the presentation of a celebrity, like from the PR like crisis handling side of things, which I never want to do, because my only advice would be like, own up to it. Did you do it?
Yeah.
Great, apologize, because that's what people want to hear.
didn't
They don't want to
know.
hear this whole like, our hearts go out to blah. No. Tell me you did
Shut
it.
the fuck up.
Just say you did it. Say you did it. Yeah, we did that. We're friends with him. We
want
wanted to
money.
stick up for him. We're being paid to do it. So sorry. I know it looks bad, but that's just what the situation was. And I don't want to capitalize on like the first 20 minutes of this episode, but the breakdown that I saw about Mila Kunis in that video.
Oh, yeah, talk to me about that first, and then I want to get into explain to everyone at home maybe who doesn't know what a scab is, doesn't really know what's happening. We'll go back, but I think everyone knows that there's something wrong here, and that
Yes.
the public knows that.
Yes.
We can get into that, but I do want to get into first the Danny Masterson rape. Oh, then
Oh my God, my Mexican food is here. I'll be right back.
okay, why don't I just do a breakdown while you get that? So, all right, guys. So here's what's going on. Danny Rape Face McGee Masterson a lot of people have been talking for I don't know how long, ever, that this man is a problem. This man has been a problem. Everyone's kind of known. I've heard about his bad behavior, I don't know, decades ago, the rumors and the weirdness.
Well, and the interviews on talk shows
Yeah.
where they inferred that something was
like,
happening.
something's wrong with this bruh,
Yeah,
you know?
there was that Conan clip that came up that was like he literally said to his face, like, "You're gonna get caught one day."
Yikes.
He was like, "I've heard about you."
Yikes.
He was like, "I heard about you." And then he made it like Danny Masterson said something, and Conan goes like, "You'll be caught one day."
What? It's like the Bill Cosby of it all. Truly. So a lot of people knew it wasn't as open as, like, say, Bill Cosby, which was a prolific serial rapiste. But Danny Masterson, yeah, it's kind of been obvious that something's off, and then he did some shady stuff to girls. Yeah, you know, ding dong, which is that. So anyway, basically, when the trial was happening, I believe for his accusations / now he's convicted, so proven actual accusations. There were victims, and then there were people that were supposed to be character witnesses. Just like any trial, when someone is put upon a seat, the hot seat, and they're being convicted of something and/or accused of something. But now he's a convicted rapist, so I'm just going to say convicted. They a lot of times ask for people in their circle that have known them for a while to be character witnesses, to write letters and documents about how great this person is. And what really kills me is, like, and this is so historically obvious, in history, a lot of the times someone can be the nicest human being to you. They can be the chillest, dopest person to you. Now, well, I never had any weird scenario. I never had any blah, blah, blah. And then really, they're monsters. They're monstrous human beings to other people. Just because they were nice to you doesn't mean they're good people. There's so many, like, people, like, I don't know, serial killers, or people who were serial rapists, like, or that are convicted rapists, like Danny Masterson, convicted rapist, who might have been nice to some people, and I'm sure his mommy loved him, and some of the people on the cast that he couldn't get away with being weird to were fine with that. But, like, I don't know why in court, like, people saying, like, but he's nice to me. Like, okay, but were you there when he was with these victims?
Right. Did he penetrate you against your will?
I mean, it's like, was he? And I understand the court of law, you have to be, it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt, right? But it was so obviously proven, and now he's convicted. I don't know how long is his sentence? Like 2 lives?
It's 30 years and 30 to life, I think.
30 to life. So good luck, bro. Like, you fucking.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
asshats.
him aside, I think.
Yeah, fuck him. Whatever.
So, like, back to Mila Kunis.
So Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher, that's what I was getting. Sorry, they made a character letter. They wrote a character letter about how great he is.
Right.
That his family requested in lawyers.
Right. And so then people were pissed about that because.
Sure.
It was, like, public and not sealed. Oof. And then they made an apology video.
I watched it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, watch it again with this in mind.
Say it.
If you watch Ashton, he is, like, distraught. He is hurt.
Yeah.
He is dragged.
He looks like he's been crying.
Yeah. Mila, on the other hand,
yes.
looks pissed.
Yeah.
And if you watch her, there's a moment when Ashton says that the Masterson family approached them and asked them to do it. And Mila's face at that point looks directly at the camera and gives this, like, eyebrow thing, like, fuck you. Because I think what happened, and this was this is what this casting director person speculated, was that whether they were approached and asked to do it or they offered to do it, doesn't matter. Mila Kunis, I think, this person whose TikTok I saw thinks that she didn't want to do it at all. That she was like, absolutely not. This is going to look terrible. Because she's smart. She's a smart cookie. No, she's great.
She's also a woman.
Right, exactly. I love her. And also the whole, like, human trafficking, like, thing that they do, like, whatever. So if you watch her, she looks fucking angry. And at that moment, she uses, like, face to the camera. And so the thought is, whomever approached who whomever. She was like cajoled into writing this letter, or someone wrote it for her and she had to sign off on it. And she was doing it for Ashton under the guise that the lawyers probably told them that it would be sealed. No one would ever see it. Like, this is going to be private. Ooh. Like it's just for the judge, for character, whatever. And then the day of or before the trial, the judge was like, I'm not accepting these unless they're unsealed.
Got it.
And so there was, I don't remember who the actor was, but there was one other actor who wrote a letter that is named as to having written a letter, but it's not there. So the thought was that he found out from one of the lawyers, or the lawyer told him, and he was like, take the letter out. It will not be in there. You can leave my name there, but get rid of it. Make it go away. Ooh. And so his letter was not public. But I think that Mila is just furious.
Yeah, she looks angry.
She's pissed. I mean, look at her. She can't sit still. Her mouth is like pinched and moving all over the place.
And she's reading off a thing where it didn't look like he was.
Right. There's obviously a script that he is trying to like act his way through.
Sure.
And she's just reading it.
She's like,
I've always done blah, 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 blah. Right. So there's this dynamic there that's really kind of strange and off.
It is off.
That feels like they are not on the same page with this. But anyway, all that aside, we're tired of celebrity bullshit. Yeah. And like, please stop it. Like, we're all just trying to get by. Do we know what their letter said?
For real? Has anyone read it?
Yeah. They're public. They should be available somewhere.
Yeah, because I don't exactly know what they said.
I don't either. But it was basically just saying like what you're saying. Like, he was a great guy and like a good friend and role model for blah, 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 blah.
It just seems like...
And now there's all these old conspiracy theories around Ashton Kutcher that are coming up again.
Oh, yeah.
From like 2000 or the early aughts.
Yeah. It says, okay, so yeah, it's just saying, well, you know, it's holding people accountable for writing these character things. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing about, in my opinion, other than the horrific crimes that have been done. The whole situation is not super negative in terms of that they're being called out for the shit that you shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? Like, one of Masterton's victims denounced the letters. Chrissy, I'm going to say her name because she's openly come out, and I want to say her name. I'm going to say the people's names that matter as opposed to this fucking piece of shit. Chrissy denounced the letters. It's one of the victims or one of the people that was affected by this foul beast. Denounced the letters in an Instagram story stating, in my opinion, Kutcher, you're just as sick as your mentor. So...
Oh, yeah.
And I think it must have been really, like, messy how the letter...
Well, it wasn't just that, because she also alluded to having known things about him that would ruin his career. Right. And she kind of was, like, putting a thing out there about that. But I think, like, more importantly, the bigger picture here outside of that whole situation, as terrible as it is that humans who are not in that 1% of actors or wealth gap or whatever are tired of it. We're tired of it. Yeah. And so the whole Scab situation with Drew Barrymore is like, we loved you and now you're fucking us. Yeah. And so I think that there's going to be, this is like yet another domino falling of shit that we're no longer putting up with.
Eat the Rich.
And that there needs to be, exactly, Eat the Rich.
Eat the Rich.
I have a song on Spotify called Eat the Rich. Please listen to it. It's a disco song. But please explain what a scab is.
Okay, let's scab it up. So a scab isn't just something that when you skin your knee, you get a scab. If you guys have seen the classic, cinema classic, Newsies, from Newsies.
Yes, Newsies.
Soaking the scabs. I mean, like, they're like, no scabs here. So basically what that is...
Historically relevant, required viewing.
Guys, it's a historical treasure. You need to watch it. It's like that... What's that movie that's like about... It's about space, and it's got... Oh shit! It's a parody on Star Trek
Spaceballs.
Yes, no, the other one, the one with Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver. It's one of my favorite movies all time. It's a total parody. It's basically showing that it's like a parody on Star Trek and all those fucking things. An alien race comes in contact and finds all of our shitty shows from the '60s. And there's a show in this movie where that's like based on. It's based on Star Trek, and they're like, it's the historical documents. The aliens like think it's real, and it's our history. So they build spacecrafts based off that era.
Oh, that's funny.
And it's fantastic.
What
and
a brilliant
like
premise.
Let me find out. Hold on. Tim Allen. I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Is one of my favorite
I
movies.
vaguely remember this.
It's also historical documents. But yeah, so in other words, Newsies is my historical Galaxy Quest. That's it. Newsies is my historical document because, especially in these times, they talk about all the terms that we were discussing. So if you want to watch that, that'll give you all the things. But let us tell you too.
Yeah.
Honey.
Well, I mean, and also, and we'll
Sure.
by all means continue. But I will say that like a lot of the chanting that you hear on the picket line is New York. New York is a union town,
Right.
And this is why.
Hell yeah.
What you're about to say is why.
Yeah. For many reasons. New York City, especially because so many people work and live here. Labor laws originated in the Triangle Shirt fire, which was a fire that went off, and they had to protect the victims of that. So that started the whole movement. The reason we have weekends, we've talked about this before. But anyway, The Newsies is essentially a movie about newsboys that Pulitzer and Hearst want to raise what they're charging the Newsies just to make some minor thing, just to up their money. It's greed. It's corporate greed. They won't pay them their wage, and so they all revolt and they do a strike, and they ended up winning. So, and that's a historical thing. Now, what we're dealing with now in the entertainment industry is a similar thing. Corporations will not pay us for us being creatives and actually pay us a fair and living wage. It's not a debatable thing. It's not something we're like, well, it's just nebulous, like pay us good. No, there's factual evidence showing for what they make off of our backs, literally statistically what we should be making, and it's not matching. It's not adding up. The numbers are not numbering the math. It's not mathing, okay? Now, one of the worst things you could possibly do during a strike, obviously aside from insane crazy shit, is to be a scab. It's actually one of the worst things you could possibly do. And a scab is a person who is a member of the union or crosses a picket line in some way during a strike. So when we're talking about Drew Barrymore and now Bill Maher, it's because they're straight up scabbing. And what kills me about them is that these are talk shows with writers who write their monologues, writers who get the questions organized, writers who organize the whole flow of everything. Literally, I don't know what this man is going to do with his opening monologue. He said now he's not going to have one. He's just going to have sit-downs with random people at desks and just speak, which is what, yes, the bulk of the show, but the writers organized not only his questions, but they organized his monologue. They helped with the guests, how to weave them in and out, when have them come in. I mean, good luck.
Well, which also brings up a good point too, especially with talk shows.
Because that's the argument. It's like it's a talk show.
It's a talk show. Okay, yeah, but they write for you.
Yeah.
And also, like, aren't you a comedian? Aren't you a writer? Why don't you write your own fucking material for once? Because, like, if you have a whole room full of writers and now you're scabbing and you're just saying, oh, we're not going to do monologues anymore, well, like, why don't you do it?
Yeah, why don't you write that shit?
Why don't you write it?
He said he's not going to do it, and he's not going to, in alignment, in solidarity. No, it's because you're lazy. You want money.
Right, you want money, and you just want to show up and be given a script and not use your brain.
And what kills me, and we'll go to the timeline now. So this all started when, so far, no one has been scabbing for the most part. Selena Gomez had a faux pas, but I think it's just because she was not smart about something. She tweeted about a production that is going against the strike policy of promoting things that are on a struck station. She took it back. She apologized. She's dealt with it very well. So it's okay. Slap on the wrist.
Like one should. Own up to it. Apologize.
Notice that everyone's in love with her still.
Yes,
everyone loves her.
She's the best.
That's because she fucking owned up.
Yeah.
But what sucks is Drew Barrymore decided to have her show come back, sans the writers. Now, these are all WGA writers, and the WGA is on strike right now. They are not writing. And in solidarity, you shouldn't be having your show go down while this is all happening. She's literally moving forward without them. Now, can I read her post?
Oh my God, please do, because it's so wishy-washy.
So stoopy.
It's like, what Kool-Aid are you drinking, girl?
I feel like we should play some music while I do it.
I feel like we might get flagged for copyright if we do that.
Is there royalty free?
Violins?
Okay, imagine violins are playing.
I'll voice some violins.
Sure. This is from Drew Barrymore's literal mouth. I made a choice to walk away from the MTV Film and Television Awards because I was the host, and it had a direct conflict with what the strike was dealing with, which was studios, streamers, film, and television. It was also in the first week of the strike, so she already lost her giving a shit. And so I did what I thought was the appropriate thing at the time to stand in solidarity with the writers. And to be clear, our talk show had actually wrapped on April 20th. Cool. So we never had to shut down the show. I don't know what that has to do with anything. However, I am also making the choice to come back for the first time in the strike for our show that may have my name on it. But this is bigger than just me.
Really? Then change the name to
Then change
the writers
the name to the
or some
writers.
shit. I own this.
Should I keep violating?
It's whatever you want to do. Okay. I own this choice. We are in compliance with not discussing or promoting film and television that is struck of any kind. So here, let me just explain that. Let me just read between the lines. She doesn't want SAG to drop her. So she's saying she's in compliance with not discussing or promoting film and television that is struck of any kind. Cool. But you're still like, fuck you, writers. Anyway, we launched live on a global pandemic. Oh, is that what that was?
Oh, this part really made me mad.
This makes me like, you savior bitch.
This is the part that I was like,
White
okay.
savior. Okay.
Like,
we launched live in a global pandemia. Our show was built for sensitive times and has only functioned through what the real world is going through in real time. I want to be there to provide what writers do so well. Take their jobs. Which is a way to bring us together or help us make sense of the human experience. It's a talk show, girl. Anyway, I hope for a resolve for everyone as soon as possible. We have navigated difficult times since we first came on air, and so I take a step forward to start season 4 once again with an astute humility. Bitch, you scabbing. That's what you're doing.
You
Scabbity scab.
Scab your humility.
So here's what's driving me up the wall with this. It's not like, hi, yeah, we need money. I'm a piece of shit. Like, I just want to come back. Like, honestly, I'm bored and like I'm losing money probably. And like, I want my voice to be heard because I'm a narcissist and I'm rich and famous and I really just want to be heard.
I think it's that second part because she doesn't need money. She
At
has
all.
like a makeup line.
Yeah.
And like some other shit that she has
and a
money
house
coming
or
in.
5, you know, and like
house
a legacy and investments.
And 7 generations of wealth.
So, so
yeah.
it's narcissism, man.
It's narcissism. And it's also like the I will save the world.
Yeah, what the fuck? No one's
But what makes me mad and what sticks out to that is like she's talking about how writers bring people together and how they're this, that, and the next thing. But she's like, but also, fuck you, we don't need you to do what we're gonna do.
I don't give a shit about you, actually.
Yeah, it's so backwards.
So weird.
I just don't understand like what is going on.
Gaslighty?
It's like smooth brain.
Yeah,
your
it
brain
is
has smoothed over.
Mad smooth, bitch.
And it makes me the most sad because I have always loved her and it's just so disappointing.
I made a comment and I also DM'd this to her. I think I just DM'd her like some.
Oh,
memes
you
at
are
her.
like sliding up in the Barrymore DMs.
I just listen. I've always like. Here's the thing. What kills me is she's going after the people that she knows she can cast aside, but she doesn't have a realization that without these writers like that have been with her since day one that are not picketing against her, she's completely dehumanizing them. But I do think as a SAG-AFTRA newly elected again for the 4th term board.
Yes, that's what we couldn't talk about before, but now we can. She won.
As someone who is a representative of the union, I'm not going to get personal and petty. I will on this podcast because I'm a civilian right now reading her silly post.
Silly goose post.
Silly goose. But I will say to her, privately, like what's going on. But I will say publicly is what I wrote on her thing. This is me. Don't make this about being a martyr who's talking about the human condition. This is so out of touch. I almost forgot you've been famous your whole life. And it harms the WGA and the strike in general. Being a scab truly sucks, and you're really doing the wrong thing here. Please reconsider.
And that the point that she's been famous her whole life is really kind of interesting because she's never really had to be amongst the unwashed in the same way that we are like on a picket line, you know, and like she doesn't, I guess, want to come down off of her cloud.
I haven't seen her at the picket actually.
Cloud of cash.
Yeah.
Well, of course you haven't because she was planning to do this the whole time.
People way more no offense. I've seen people way more famous than her there. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and like the whole we're sick of celebrity bullshit. It's the ones that are showing up to the picket line.
Bryan
It's like
Cranston is
it's
the man.
nice. Yeah, like it's nice to see them there. Like Christine Baranski, like what a star.
Yeah, Steve Bashimshim. Love that.
Steve Bashimshim.
Steve Bashimshim.
We love it. But I mean like so many people.
Yeah.
Like especially out in LA, like I've been following a couple accounts that are on the picket lines regularly out there, and it's just like it's like a red carpet happening.
Truly, that's why I laughed at that article. Where like celebrities aren't there. What's that about? And I'm like, bitch, nice try, MPTP. Like I literally saw Harry Potter today. Like shut up. Like you don't know anything. You're not there.
They tried it.
You tried it.
They tried
but it
it.
doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing is, like, it's not about being celebrities, but it's about using your voice in a light that empowers those that are fighting for you. And what you did by doing this, woman, you completely bulldozed them and you disregarded them.
Also, I do want to comment on this a little away from Drew Barrymore, but there was supposed to be a meeting, I think, with the WGA and someone, and I remember seeing that like the WGA canceled or like something got canceled. It was like this big meeting that got canceled, and then it ended up that was not true.
Yeah.
That it was. I don't. Oh, fuck. I wish that you were like, yes, I know what you're talking about. But
a lot of this is rumors and hearsay, and the problem is that I don't want to say anything that's like not really real. I do want to say though that they did meet the NPTP the second time around after we had spoken, and what happened was it didn't result in anything substantial because they still refused to humanize writers. But what they did was they broke their agreement by releasing what they offered to the writers without getting the okay. Because like before, when a mediation ends and you pass a certain thing, then you can release what you asked for and you didn't get.
Yeah.
But they were still now in renegotiating, and the NPTP broke that by releasing what they asked.
Oh, I see.
That's what happened. And so it just made, again, it's so bonehead because it just made the AMPTP like a bunch of assholes. Like, this was your compromise? Honey.
Yeah.
Girl, you in the sunken place, girl. What the hell?
Well, I mean, it's also like we were talking about earlier.
You in
like,
danger, girl.
Like, we've been in retrograde for a while, and like people have been acting a fool. Like I know that I've been acting a fool.
Sure.
I've been like,
I know, I have too.
I have just been in the biggest funk, and like every single person I saw this week was having a mental health crisis.
Damn.
Like myself included. I like had a 6-hour panic attack at the office the other day. It was so fun to just like sit there and be like, don't look like a crazy person in front of all
God,
these
I'm
finance
sorry.
people.
Yeah.
But like, you know, my best friend Bobby's dad passed on Sunday. Like, there've been some other situations that have happened in the last 2 weeks, like with death within like the LGBT community here in New York. And like just emotionally wrecked.
Yeah.
Like me, I talked to my sister, like she's wrecked. My friend Erica I saw last night, she's wrecked. Like everyone is just going through it.
Hacksaw Ridge, yeah.
And then today, apparently Mercury in retrograde ends today. There's a new moon cycle today or tonight.
Tonight. Yeah, tonight's the new moon. Make your list. Me and Mike already have our like thing, our rituals planned out, what we're gonna do.
I never do stuff like that. I was
it's
just
so
like,
dope. It resets you.
I'm just gonna like meditate as I fall asleep.
Yeah, no. You have to have like a thing behind it, or like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
What I'm doing is I'm getting rich, man.
Here we go. It turns direct on Friday tomorrow at 1:21 p.m. Pacific. So that would be 4:21 tomorrow. That's what I was thinking. Yes. Well, that's what I was gonna laugh at when she was like, "We came back on 4:20." I'm like, "Bitch, you're so stupid. Like, I can't."
Oh my
Sorry,
god.
she's killing me. Well, okay, so I'm gonna go back to what you're dealing with. I just want to get through. Drew, you're messing up. It's really shameful. It's so disappointing. I hate people though. I hate when people act like bleeding hearts and then really just don't give a shit. That's actually like, you know, that's why
the
the
most
Bill
hurtful
Maher of
part.
it all. I'm like, yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm mad about it, and it sucks. But he's always done what the fuck he wants, and he always says like sometimes you're like, wow,
like some crazy shit.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
So for him to do it to you, well, he's actually a member of the WJ, so that's so shady.
That's so shady.
But yeah, so they're messy. Now, you're right. We are in a retrograde. It changes tomorrow. It has been a violent ass.
And I brought that up because I hope that will hopefully create some fun little shifts in our direction as far as negotiations are concerned, because I know that people are starting to get concerned, and like I'm concerned beyond concern, losing their homes and shit. Like, you know, and the job market is starting to pick up, as I've been seeing through my recruiter, which I cannot stress enough. I did a TikTok about this. Get a recruiter. Anyone who's looking for a job, literally, I cannot stress this enough. I have now applied to over, I think, 400 jobs on LinkedIn.
Damn.
On LinkedIn alone. That doesn't include ones that I've applied to externally on direct websites or anything that I've gone through my recruiters. I've gotten one interview from a job board out of all of those.
Wow.
Well, technically two, but it was with the same company.
But people don't want to work. Haven't you heard? Nobody wants to work.
We can get into that too, but like, it's no one has ever wanted to work, for the record.
For real.
But
But
the
especially
idea
now.
of like getting a recruiter, guys, like if you need a referral, hit me up. I send people to my recruiters all the time. I just sent my friend Steven to like 5 of them today. I have had more job interviews this week from my recruiters alone than I have from anything else. And I cannot stress enough, like, it's just the better way to do it. And the reason why it's always been that way, but like, I feel like in the past you could like walk into a place and get a job, or like email them directly and get a job. And that's not happening anymore. And
Right.
I think it's for a couple reasons. One, the whole ideology of like nobody wants to work. Again, no one has ever wanted to work. That's not what humans were invented for.
no cap, yeah.
But that's just here we are in capitalism.
Yeah.
But it's because the next generation below us has no fucks to give.
Yeah.
And I love watching it.
Yeah, they're watching the world burn, and they're watching our everything.
But I mean more specifically to the point where like I spent a good maybe hour on TikTok the other night watching young people like walk out of their jobs. There's like a whole feed of like these kids that are like,
They won't take
you know
bullshit.
what? You're a bad manager. I hate it here. You treat me like shit. You overwork me.
Yeah.
You don't pay me enough, and I can't afford things. So I'm gonna go and find somewhere else to work. And I love the audacity of
yes.
them. It's just the best, and I think
audacity.
that's one of the reasons why recruiters are going to get or are getting more opportunities through them, is because these companies are looking to find people who are already vetted, who've already been interviewed, who've already had a discussion with someone about the qualifications and their wants and what they need and what they're looking for, so that when an employer goes to a recruiter and they're like, hey, we need somebody who's willing to do this, that, and the next thing. Because I'll tell you, the number one thing that I am asked in these interviews is, are you okay coming into the office this many days a week?
What is the norm? I'm having to ask, like, what are you seeing the amount of days? Is it like 2 days a week, 3?
It's mostly 5.
Wow.
The ones that I'm up for, obviously there's like a little higher level, but like they're 5 days a week. And so they ask, are you okay with 5 days a week in office?
Wow.
Now, I have seen a bunch that I've interviewed for that are hybrid, which is like maybe 2 days at home, 3 days in office, 3 days at office, 3 days at home, 2 days in office. And it varies. There was also a company that I had 2 interviews with that I'm still waiting to hear back from that was like, you can either work 4 days a week, 9 to 4, or you can work 5 days a week, 10 to 2. Like
interesting.
It was like a nice option to do.
Flexi.
And so I think because this whole bullshit made up nobody wants to work thing,
Sure.
it's because you've had this terrible toxic work culture for so long, and now everyone is seeing it and dealing with it now that we've had COVID break, and people are like, wait a minute.
I don't have to be like,
I don't have to do this.
treated like shit. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I also feel like the average pay for certain roles here in New York has gone from $20 an hour to like $30, $35 an hour, like
Yes,
overnight.
God. Yes, God.
Like overnight.
Good.
Because I, like, end of 2021, I was making $30 an hour, and it was the first time that I was like flat out offered that without having to ask. Mm-hmm. And so then I got more money, but like that was their offer.
That's so
And so
interesting.
I got above that. But
I love that.
End of 2021 was the first time that I ever been offered something that high for the type of work that I was doing back then. And now, I mean, it's still around there, but it's much higher for some of these.
I love
Like,
that.
I've seen like $40, $45, $50 an hour.
Yeah,
For some shit.
for sure.
It's like, and then they like, obviously this is temp work, and some of it's like temp to perm.
Sure.
But then the perm is like, this has potential to go up to this amount above what we're offering. So it's like, you know, if I get a temp job that's like $30 an hour, but they want to keep me on permanently, then that might go up to the equivalent of like $90,000 a year.
It's laying the groundwork.
It is.
Yeah.
And so it's just, again, I say all of this to kind of give a landscape picture of the labor situation that's going on now, even though everything feels like it's burning down, because it is, because people are unionizing and putting their foot down.
I love that,
The
though.
advantage of that is that employers are scared.
Yes.
Because they need good people.
Look at the airlines. Look at
Look at the
UPS. Look
airlines.
at, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
fucking
God.
amazing.
It's amazing.
People won't put up with shit
I
anymore.
love it. I just saw something today.
It's hot strike summer.
It's Hot Strike Summer. I just
Yeah.
saw something today, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was on Instagram, but there was another organization that had band together to unionize, and I don't remember.
AFL-CIO, I'm sure, has it. The best Instagram to freaking follow.
Yeah.
AFL-CIO.
Look it up, because I just saw it like at the later end of my day.
Yeah. Their AFL-CIO is a representative of all the unions.
Amazing.
And so it's like an association of unions. It's so dope.
America's Labor Unions. Like, it's literally an association of labor unions. Let's see. Oh my God, I'm so excited for, and I was talking to my boyfriend's brother works in editing, and he knows so many visual effects people because they get just
it was Marvel.
shit on. Marvel
It was
VFX.
Marvel. That's the one I was looking
They
at.
have unionized.
Yes, that's the one I
IATSE.
saw.
I'm so excited because they've never had a union, and they are worked till they're dead.
Yes.
They'll literally take the budget of like a Marvel film and like they're like, cool. So we had a bunch of actors acting from this green wall. Create the world. Good luck. We're barely
Have fun.
paying you,
It's-
and I
it
hope you
needs
don't
to be
die.
perfect. Thank you.
Good luck. Pee in that cup. You know what I mean?
We're-
It's like that bad.
We're gonna make billions off this film. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's actually really gorgeous.
No,
that
I
they
love
have-
it. I love
that
it. I
have-
love it.
They've unionized, so that's incredible.
But as a response, I think a lot of other industries are seeing that and being like, "Oh shit," and now they're offering, or at least more. They're, at least to me, in my opinion, being a little bit more timid in the interview process.
Yes.
Of like, is this okay? What do you want? Like, is this fun? Which is so interesting because in my experience, it's always been the other way around.
Yes.
And it's been really fun to. First of all, I love interviewing. I think it's really fun.
It's dope.
And the kind of work that I want to do and that I am doing and willing to do is like a much higher quality than it was 5 years ago.
Sure.
So I'm enjoying all of it.
Love.
But just from an observational standpoint of like, this is how this is going down now, the workforce really is taking back the power.
It is.
And so like, take advantage of it, guys. Get a recruiter. If you need work that is not bartending or waiting tables, which no shade, I did it
No tea,
forever.
no shade, yeah.
I just am not in about that life right now.
The environment can be hard.
It's so hard. And just like I was showing up to work as an angry person, so I
Sure.
just was like, I need to get out
And
of
it's
this.
distraction, a lot of distractions, and
Get a recruiter.
Substances.
Get a recruiter. Hit me up if you need one.
Yeah.
Find me on Instagram and
that's
message
great.
me.
Yeah, because
Because I love mine. Mine are fantastic. And I just got a new one that's based out of Pennsylvania, but their job boards that they work off of are like national. So it doesn't
Love.
matter where they're based out of.
they're killing it.
They're killing it.
Yeah, and you've had so many interviews, and I think it's incredible because
Oh my God, so many.
so many, but like a lot of people aren't getting even interviews. You know what I mean? It reminds me of like the audition game. You know, it's like.
It so is the
So I
audition
was
game.
so pleased even when I was getting like 7 auditions a week from my managers, even if I got a callback, excellent. If I booked it, even better. But it's like, it's just the fact that I'm getting in the room is
I mean,
so important.
And also 7 auditions a week is an
Yeah, there was a
amount.
point right before the strike, a little bit before, where I was just like,
That's amazing.
all right, let's go, babes. You know, well, materials are good, babes.
I mean, obvi.
Well, I wanted to bring up today, and I unfortunately missed it because of recovering from everything that I've been doing. Today was the AFL-CIO solidarity with the WJS and SAG-AFTRA. It was called it was the Day of Solidarity. Today was the Day of Solidarity. And one of the posts that they put out is the AMPTP must out of their minds if they think we're even close to slowing down. Thousands of people showed up today in New York, including newly elected New York Presidente Ezra Knight, who I'm always a fan of.
We love.
Linda Powell, my VP for the gods, was texting with her last
Tish
night.
James.
Yeah, Latish. We love Rebecca Damon, Jim Kerr, my mentor. We all were reelected, and that's what's been really cool too. Is by the amount of votes that my party got, and the amount of votes that the current people that have been here the whole time during the strike and have been here before the strike and are here with not just clear minds, but like a clear line of what we're doing and how effective we're being, showed in the membership. My party swept the whole entire thing, USAN, and especially New York.
Hells yeah.
It was so magical because, you know, I see like fellow board members out working other gigs, or I'd see them doing things out on the job field, but we're not acting, quote unquote. You know, either we're doing public facing kind of commercial work, or we're doing things like that. But we see each other and we're like, I really wish I had more time to campaign. I did not have the time this year. And I think what's so beautiful is that people remembered me from leading picket lines. People remembered me from years past.
Well, how could we forget you from leading picket
You know,
lines?
she
You're
had like a
kind of
DJ
iconic.
set. Yeah, I can't wait to get back on the front. It's just I needed a week off between working straight for 30 days outside in the heat for different brands. to then come back and be as passionate as I always am. I'm still very passionate, and I'm so honored to be reelected. It was a very good birthday gift, was to be reelected. It was like,
yes, happy. Oh, that's right. You
thank
had
you.
her birthday.
I did. She's
29.
But it's been actually pretty beautiful. I think I got more votes than I ever have, which is, I guess that's just how it works.
Well, she's a star.
Thank you. But it was thousands and thousands, and I really do thank the New York contingency of SAG-AFTRA. One of the top 10 people voted in this year, and it's really awesome to see, and it really feels like all the work that I'm doing and all the committees and stuff, and then also just like in general, trying to be on the front lines as much as I can, and try and also being outspoken as we do on this podcast, as we do through social media. I try to make videos where I'm explaining why we feel the way we feel, so the general public can understand as well, because we're here for everybody.
Everything comes down to education.
It is.
Everything has
about
to come down to
education.
education.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, you can't have an opinion.
Yeah.
If
like
you
the interim
have an
agreement,
opinion,
I had to make a video on it.
Oh
because
my
I was
God,
like,
the
you don't
interim
understand,
agreement.
I
People are
think.
just so against it. Like
Yeah.
even and
They're not
and
though. It's a AMPTP tactic.
No. But
effective.
I mean, if you go into the comment section of people who are talking about the interim agreement,
Sure.
it's like they really don't understand.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And it's like the idea where I think I saw a comment that said something to the effect of like, it's a strike. It's supposed to be for everyone. By doing this, we're weakening the union. It's like, but we're not. Like, you just didn't read the paper.
You don't understand. We're circumnavigating them. In fact, that's why it's upsetting them. That's been their biggest. AMPTP is freaking out because we are making things without them the way they thought they were going to make things without us.
But they can't.
That's not happening for them. We're making it. We're doing this. We're doing it back. Like, check your glass houses, bitch.
Right.
You know
Check
what I mean?
yourself before you wreck yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself, honey. Because seriously,
I think that's the episode title, maybe.
Let's do that. Check yourself before you scab yourself, honey. Yeah.
Girl,
yeah.
no.
Oh, girl. But yeah, Fran was reelected by a landslide. Not surprised. Everybody I backed won, and everybody that backed us won too. So it was just kind of like a landslide. And I think that's why the Unity slate over in Los Angeles and the USAN slate here in New York, and it's just so obvious that we all really care. We're not typing in all caps. We're not the angry ones. We're the fighters. We are angry, but we're not angry in fighting. We're not angry at our membership. We're not angry.
Well, and the thing is,
without education,
you
like
can be
said.
angry. You just need to lead
Channel.
with knowledge and,
Channel that shit.
and strategy.
Yep.
I definitely have moments where I am angry.
I woke up angry this morning.
I
didn't even
journaled
wanna...
about it the other day. I was like, I think I'm angry.
Yeah.
And I just kept writing, why am I angry? Why are you angry? And
Yeah.
I was starting to answer myself. But you can't lead with that, and you need to be smarter than that. And
Yes.
especially in a situation like this where there's so much to be angry about.
Honey.
And it, for me, it has always been be angry, be upset, be pissed off, be whatever you want to call it, but lead with a solution.
Facts.
Feel the things.
Sure.
By all means. But figure out a way to not feel that way first.
Right.
And then allow yourself to feel.
And let's
whatever.
organize. You know what I mean?
I love a scream into a pillow moment.
Oh yeah, we love a good.
I love a little wine moment.
A little wine. What you gonna do? A little wine moment. A little
This
scream
mic
moment.
is gonna go off, and we're gonna
and we're
pick
gonna
up that
pour that in my gullet, bitch.
Montepulciano.
Mainline to my face.
Right, wine and Taco
Well,
Bell.
it has
girl.
been a week, and I do want to say though, in positivity and in solidarity. If you go to the sagafterstrike.org and you check on the interim agreement and you start scrolling down to all the things being made under it, LOL. Ha ha.
LOL.
Got him. Making moves, baby. And also, I noticed too, auditions-wise, I'm starting to get more opportunities with that agreement. And, commercials are popping, so let's go.
Yeah.
And I'll also say it's an honor to be a Virgo, and it's an honor to have my birthday, but it's also an honor to be reelected. And I just had such a fabulous weekend, and it was a New York kind of birthday. Mike surprised me with so much cool shit. I mean, it just was awesome. We went to this
The photos looked amazing.
Oh, I know. It was such a good planned thing. I'm so used to being a planner and I organize crazy stuff. And I was going to do a big birthday this year, but to be honest, I'm exhausted from all the things I'm doing, and I recently had 2 losses in my life, and I just don't feel like two.
Yeah, that Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah,
thing.
my aunt Aunt Janet. I just want to shout out to her. She wasn't my aunt, but she was my aunt. She's one of those people that I've known my whole life.
Your auntie.
Yeah, my auntie. And then we lost on the SAG-AFTRA board, and just amazing actor, Joseph Melendez. Literally spoke with him on my birthday. He texted me happy birthday. I was supposed to be in the New York board meeting, but I had booked something else, so I wasn't there in person. And it was our last New York board meeting before the next election cycle. And he wanted to wish me happy birthday presently there. And he told he's just like an angel. And I'm really sad that we lost him so young. It's really fucked. And so it's just been kind of a time. So I feel like it's been a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
Oh my God.
Truly.
I just keep telling people everything is very balanced.
Yeah.
There's so many highs and so many lows, but I'm landing
highs.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and I hope to next week, right? I'm going to email people on staff to make sure I get back on the line next week and the picket line and the week after.
I know. I want to go so bad, but I'm working.
I know. It's
can't.
hard. It's hard. And I just want to be there to, I'm sad I missed today, but it was very necessary because I'm still doing all the things, catching up with other things when I was working, on my feet and doing other things. I'm catch-up game is the main thing. But anyway, my birthday was tight. We went to a speakeasy thing that I thought was just a bar. And then as we were at the bar, people started to go in the bathroom and not come back. People started to be let outside.
You're like, is this a sex party?
Yeah, I was like, what is happening, Mike? And I was like, and he kept saying I wonder if we're doing this right. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And
it's
then
a swingers club.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I was like, no thanks. And all of a sudden I looked around, I was like, no. And all of a sudden they go, hey, and I was wearing my extremely dope lingerie dress from Bebe back in the day. It still fits like a damn glove, and I hadn't worn it in years, and it's hot as fuck. And I was wearing my red lip, and I was giving, and they were like, just, hey, go to the mustachioed man that you saw in the front. He has something, this is a ticket. It's a ticket. Just go see him. And we were like, huh? So we go to him, and he's like, here. And it was a ticket he gave me another piece of paper that was literally for a dry cleaner. And he was like, during the show. And I'm like, what show? I still don't know what the hell is going on. I could have been traffic. I don't know what the hell. You know what I mean? Mike's like, I'll get a pretty penny on these titties. Yeah. He's like, she's a feisty one. Don't worry. You'll get your money.
Oh, my God.
Sorry. Dark joke. But I'm in a dark place. We're all in a dark place. So,
everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Everything is awesome. And he was like, during the show, sometimes people get blood on them. And I was like, what? And he's like, so here's the cleaners next door so we can make sure that you're covered. And I was like, huh? And he's like, take your drinks with you. And we were like, okay. And so then we went out on the street with our cocktails. I'm like, is this Vegas? Is this New Orleans? Is this, I was getting flashbacks.
What's happening?
So we walk into this literal dry cleaner, like a real top to bottom.
Oh, I know this place.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was a place next to it that sent you over.
Yeah, it sends you over.
Yeah.
He after a little tete-a-tete with the gentleman behind the thing, he goes, here. And he raises it, and he was like really fabulous about it. And I was like, work. And he's like, mm-hmm. But I could tell he liked my work, but he didn't react to my work. I was like, work. And he was like, get back.
In character.
Get the fuck back there, bitch. And so then we crawled through clothes covered in plastic and opened the back, literally for 16 feet. It was pitch black through plastic covered clothes.
Oh, that must be new. I haven't been to this place in ages.
It's wild. And then the back door opened, and we were in a speakeasy, and it was so dope. And we had magicians, hypnotists, people come to our just tables and perform for us, and it was wild shit.
What was this place called?
I don't know if I can say. I don't know if I can
say it
on the podcast, but it's a secret. Really, it's a secret.
But it's not. People know.
Okay. So it's actually through Halsey Green. What is it? The Sleep No More people. It's it's a separate thing. It's through the McKittrick, but it's an off. It's like a side thing, and it's the magicians, secret magicians or something collective, and basically, yeah, it's crazy. And so I had the first. So we sit down at this table first. We sit down, and we're like, wow, this is wild. And I didn't take any photos, as and I'm just like, this is cray. And the couple that was next to us literally are from Richmond, Virginia. So we were talking about all the things to do, but the couple, Dave, shout out to Dave, was like from New York, but he married his wife and moved down to Virginia. They raised their kids, and now they're back up in New York, and it was so iconic because all the places I was like, yeah, Plan 9 Records and blah blah blah. And I said my like high school, and she knew my high school. It was really cool. But the first guy that came to our table was a hypnotist, and he fucking hypnotized Dave. He made Dave like, it was weird. It was like he would go over here and say something to someone's ear, and Dave would do it. We didn't know what he had said. And so Dave later goes, guys, all I remember is I felt like I was somewhat half awake and asleep, and I felt like he was right next to me whispering, but he was never next to him. It was really freaking weird, dude. Okay? Weird stuff. That was the first guy out the gate. And then it just kept getting more wild and wild.
I want to ask you something because this was like a brand deal that I got asked to do, and then it got canceled at the last minute.
No.
So, and it sounds like this. You and I talked about this, I think. But it was this place that was called Cirque de Lancy.
No, it's not that.
And it was through the Rose Room.
No, that isn't that.
And it was like, you were recommended to us by somebody. Please let us know if you can come here. And it was like, it sounds like what you're talking about. It was like
it's probably similar. I mean,
circus and magic.
New York is magic, so
it truly is.
Okay, so it's called Speakeasy Magic, a night of magic in New York City, and it's done by the McKittrick Hotel, but it's actually like not at the it's really fucking cool. It actually blew my mind.
Amazing.
And everybody came by, and my favorite guy was this guy, and I have to say, so they would have people come to our table, and then on the main stage in front of us, it was like a loungy spot. It wasn't like a big stage. It was like a loungy stage. This guy had doves, okay? He's doing like this thing. He literally in front of my eye. And so like I'm thinking of it as a cinematic person. What angle is this? How are we doing this? I'm dissecting things, but I'm enjoying every bit of it. But he literally took a dove, threw it up in the air, and it turned into a scarf. And there was no obstruction. It just in our brains, our eyes all saw it fade into a scarf, come down, and nothing was there, no dove. And then he did something else, and there was the dove. Like it was very like, and I know it's sleight of hand. I know there's like some way to it, but it was honestly the most. I've been to the Magic Castle, one of my favorite places in LA, because I know one of the grand magicians there, and like. I love that shit, but I've never seen anything quite like something, and I'm not shitting on it because that's the best place in the universe. I'd rather go there any day of the week. But the way this particular magician did his shit, it really fucked me up because I saw something morph into something else in the air. It wasn't like it was like, woo, floaty.
Ooh, look at my hand over here.
And then, luckily, you don't get to see all the magicians, but that magician in particular sat at our table and he did this crazy thing and he focused in on me. It's like he knew I was like, what the fuck?
You were gooped.
I was gooped, gagged, got, gooning and bait.
Ooh.
I'm out. Anyway, Katya's on Malachikova. Anyway, so, anyway, I was gagged, gal. The girls were gagged. So I'm sitting here, and he's like, hello. And he had a Ukrainian accent first. Then he had no accent, and he was just being crazy. And then he was like, okay. So he said, pick a card out of here and write your signature on it. And I was like, work. So I write my signature, and Mike's like, I love your signature. Like, the whole time he was my wing. He was just like, ride or die. He was like,
love.
Your signature is so dope. I was like, yeah. She practiced. Because she's done it. And like I signed my name on this particular card. I think it was it was either the Queen of Hearts or like a heart card. It was like a high hearts card. It was either the Queen or the Ace of Hearts. It was really dope. And I put it back in the thing and everything's blah, blah, blah. And then there's this guy that was just coming in from Taiwan or some shit. Barely spoke any English, and he was just like, I don't know how I got here. And I'm like, this is so wild. And that guy picked a card and put it back in. So, like, then minutes go by, and he's doing all these other things where things are appearing. He's, like, scrambling it up, awesome shit. And he goes, here, have this envelope. And I'm like, okay. And it's sealed, completely sealed. And I open it up, and it had been sealed, the whole thing. And he's like, so is this your card? And he flips it over, and it's like not my card. So we were like, oh, he fucked up. Or like he was trying to make us feel some sort of way. He's like, oh, that's right. I think it's just in the envelope. And like the whole time I had the card out, he had given it. What's so weird is I had seen the card. The envelope had been given to me already and sealed already. And I put it back in the deck. And somehow me holding the card 3 feet from him, do you know what I mean? I open up this, rip open this fucking envelope. And there's my damn card. And it reminded me of Harrison Ford when, what's-his-face was in his house. And he said, is that your card? And he goes, cut open that orange. And, like, he cut open the orange.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford, in his most Harrison Fordy way, was like, get the fuck out of my house. You know, I felt that way. I was like, get the fuck out of my anyway, house. He gave me my card and my envelope, but then he's like, oh, I forgot about you, boo-boo, guy from blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, it's okay. He's like, no, here it is. And then he's like, check your envelope. And then I checked like another thing, and there it was underneath like, it just didn't make any sense. Everything he did was just iconic. It was just like,
I feel like the McKittrick is run by witches.
it is witches.
Like,
it's witchcraft and witchery.
It's witchcraft
It's
and
gaggatry
sorcery.
and giggery.
It has to be, because like the things that they pull off are incredible.
Yeah.
I love it there.
I love it there.
I need to go back there.
No, and it was such a New York night. So then we get done with that. We were done at that like 10:30 at night. And he's like, okay, I have reservations somewhere else now. I'm like, what's going on? And then we get to the Flatiron Room. Have you been there?
No.
Oh my God.
Is that in Flatiron?
Yeah. And we come in, and again, we were dressed to the nines. He was like three-piece suiting custom from,
God.
And I was, he looked good. And I was in my like corseted Zsa war moment.
Yeah.
And we come in, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's right, the reservation. Right this way. And they lead us through. All of a sudden, the door opens, and it's like out of a movie. It's like just a woman, da-da-da, singing jazz like this. And they're up on the stage, and I see this small circular table, like Casablanca style, almost against the stage, and that was our chair. That was our seats.
Stop
almost
it.
on the stage, almost on the stage. And I sit down, and like, welcome to the Flatiron Room. And this waiter comes over, and he's just so pro, and he's just like, here's our whiskey list. 19-page whiskey list.
Jesus.
Some whiskeys cost, for a dram of it, like $2,000.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah, it
seen
was
stuff like that.
wild good shit.
In at the speakeasy at the Kentucky Derby in the steakhouse, they have
that makes sense.
They have like a whole bunch of whiskeys that are like, it's like a $10,000 flight.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
So I'm as a gal who loves Lost in Translation. One of my favorite scenes is Bill Murray doing, for good times, you have Centauri times. Like he's doing some Japanese commercial, and they had a Centauri times flight, and they had like Japanese whiskeys, and I was like, I love a good Japanese whiskey, boo-boo, because I don't love that peat shit. I don't like that dry ass when you take the thing and it's like,
yeah,
like the witches have taken your soul out of it. Like the Dementors have sucked the shit out of you. So I was like, ooh, yeah, let's do the Japanese realness. Let's do it. And I did some sort of one. Michael know the name, but he was like, and the waiter's like, I have a bottle of that in my house. It's wonderful. Good job. And then for him, he's like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, great choice. Da, da, da. And Mike had picked some peaty, one that I won't love. Yeah. And then they had vegan gnocchi for me and all these like things ready to go. And it honestly, we were there till like 2 a.m, like maybe 3. And we just drank whiskey.
Oh my God, that sounds like such a dream.
And I was inches from this jazz player who this is what I loved about it. It was a trio, and she was not just the singer. She was the pianist, and she would tell the guys what to do. She'd be like, this next piece I wrote for my mentor, Timmy 2 times, the da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And I was like,
Timmy 2 times.
Timmy 2 times, Timothy. And it was like, wow, I'm like in a film, and we just did that for hours.
Oh,
it was
love
so
that.
iconic.
There used to be a place in the Upper West Side called the Manhattan Cricket Club. Oh. It is
Mike
R.I.P.
talks about that place.
He and I need to have a conversation about this place.
You guys need to talk about it.
It was near my apartment. I was so excited to find it because it was like it still is such a my thing. And I was like, I'm going to take myself on a date. I got dressed up to the nines in like all my vintage stuff when it still fit. And I took myself to the Manhattan Cricket Club. It was in this restaurant, and you went in, and you're like, I want to go upstairs. And they'd be like, one moment, and they'd like check their little iPads, and they'd be like, right this way. And they'd open this green leather door, and there's a flight of stairs right in front of it. You'd go upstairs. It used to be an apartment that they converted. And then there was like this black and gold lame wallpaper with like armchairs and wingbacks and leather everywhere and chandeliers you could barely see. It was just so dark. And there was a waitress there who I became friends with. She was at my friend Michael's wedding and sat at my table. It was so funny. I was like,
dude, I love the world.
You.
See, this is why I know there's magic in the world.
Yes, but when and also theater world is very small.
Also, it's iconic.
Like, and so is New York. But I sat down, and she walked over to me, and she had like all black on, like a little sheer top, and like her little red bob hair or whatever. And she was like, "Hiya, honey, what can I get for you?" And I was like, "Ugh."
How you doing, sailor?
I was like, I am never leaving this place ever as long as I live.
Come through.
I love shit like that. And I'll tell you, the McKittrick, I went to The only big party I went to there was their Clue party that they did in the fall of 2016. And I spent all the monies to go to this thing. And again, threw on all my vintage when it used to fit me. And I traipsed my ass over there for this party. And it was, fucking conic, like to the point where I hadn't even had a drink yet, and I was on such sensory overload from being in there that I felt wasted.
Yeah, that's what that place is like.
I was just like touching the walls, like, oh my God, is this real?
Acid in my tongue.
For real, it felt that way because they had like the ballroom where like the singing Telegram girls were doing a little jazz set, and then there was like the dining room where Neil Patrick Harris was hosting dinner, and then you went outside and they had like this huge ballroom that was like 90-foot ceilings where they had a floor show where there was a guy face down in a fountain, and you're like, oh, funny, they put a little dummy in there. No, that was a human who had like an oxygen tube in his mouth laying in there for like an hour.
What's that magician's name? Whatever be damned.
Copperfield?
Yeah, David Copperfield be
He'd
damned.
be damned. The McKittrick did it better.
Yeah.
But then like they did this whole floor show where that was Mr. Body in the fountain.
Ooh.
And he got up during this whole thing, and all the characters from Clue were like, oh, it's Mr. Body, and like, and Miss Scarlet was like, he knows all of your secrets, let's get him. And so they put the strobe lights on, and they like murder him again. He goes back into the fountain, they turn the water red, and he stays there for the rest of the night. And I was like, I am so fucked up by this whole thing. And I had other friends that were there too, he didn't stay there the rest of the night because then he went and did a jazz set. He was like wet in his suit, like singing I'm wet and everything.
I feel bloody.
Yeah.
I was so bloody.
But I had other friends that went there, and they were telling me about all these other rooms, and I was like, how did I miss these rooms?
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
what happens there.
You just get lost.
In Sleep No More, I got dragged into a weird parallel. My first viewing was so tame and rated G. It was like the little maid's quarters, and she sings and dances. Then I was in a blood sex room, and I was like, what the fuck happened? Why are they all topless and just bleeding?
Thought I went everywhere. I was searching nook and cranny to find, and I missed so much shit, and I'm so mad because I wanted to go back.
We need to go back. I think that's the sign.
I don't think they've done it.
This is a taste of it. I need to go back.
You can hear how excited I am about this stuff.
No, Mike loves this shit. He used to go back in the day. He used to go to their New Year's and stuff. I never went because.
Oh, their New Year's back then was amazing. But, they had a Moulin Rouge year one year.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah, let's do it. We need to go back.
We
need to hop on their website. This is like free advertising for them.
Yeah, I will advertise them all. Well, welcome to New York, where things are magical and
they're
actual
truly
shit
magical.
Going on. It's so incredible.
You like anywhere outside of the city could never.
Yeah, it could never. But the next day, since it was Mike's mom's birthday, almost, she was a few days later. We did a dual birthday. And the next day, fam time, and we saw Dr. Strangelove. In theaters. Have you seen it?
No.
Stanley Kubrick. Dude, please watch it.
Okay.
It's one of the funniest, most terrifying things I've ever seen. It's about the atomic bomb, and just watch it. It's like, it's so funny, but it's just great. Anyway, so Stanley Kubrick is my muse, and I've seen everything he's ever directed except Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Love the Atomic Bomb. And I remember hearing it was purposely all in black and white, that when he was originally writing it, it was going to be like a doomsday scary movie. But as he was writing it, it was so much fun. It was so much more fun to make it a comedy that was very dark because you were able to digest it. And plus, some of the lines are so serious. What dummies say at the Pentagon or in the war room or what the president be like, I'm sorry, but it's so much funnier that way, and it's brillante, like brill. So we watched that. Then we did an escape room. And it was a vampire one. And not only did we fucking blow through that shit, literally they give you an hour and 33 minutes. We had figured it all out.
Wow.
And I was like hung over more than I've been in years. Okay. So I'm like watching Stanley Kubrick. My mind is dissected. I was drinking whiskey all night. Half my nails were still there, my Barbie nails. And I was like, oh honey, she gonna suck on this vampire one. And then we came in, and I was like, no, wait, the gems in the eyes equal this. That's red, blue, green. That's 4. There's 4 gems of that, 5 gems of that, 6 of that. It was so much fun.
I love that.
Got photos, wore a robe for it because they provided the cloak. And then after that, we just got dinner, and it was iconic. It was just a great weekend.
I miss having weekends like that.
Yeah,
I haven't had one in a really long time.
Well, let's have one.
Let's seriously look what's going on at the McKittrick, because my birthday's in 3 weeks.
I know. I want to do this.
Me too.
Okay, done. Sponsored by the McKittrick.
Well, we gotta go. We're gonna go look at the McKittrick.
But that's been as long as I thought. I just looked at it. It's an hour 3, so
We're good. We're good. No, but I think it's taco and wine time, and then we'll look at the McKittrick.
Taco and wine, and then McKittrick. Well, thank you guys for listening in. We're so glad to be back together in the same room.
Same.
Just fuck. I needed to be back here.
I know. I'm so glad
to be
you're
home.
back. Yeah. Huh?
Oh, the city can slap me around, but I still love her.
I know.
We're
It's
in a
Stockholm
relationship.
syndrome.
It's BDSM, but I'm in. So. Anyway, well, thank you guys so much. Don't be a scab.
Don't be a scab, and don't forget.
Just be a queen.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Or scab yourself. I hate it. Keep the money on the
God,
table.
You're so rich.
Pay me.